Aloha y'all, welcome to my channel, The Socially Awkward Chef. Today I'm going to be making one of my other favorite dishes to make. I know I've got a lot of them, but this one is super quick, it's easy, and best of all, it is budget friendly. And we're going to start with the base of our dish, which is brown rice. So if you don't already know this trick, I've gotten my brown rice. I'm going to actually make a full pot of it. So I washed it. Now, in order to get the ratio of water to rice correct, the easiest way to do it is to fill it with water up until it reaches your first digit. And when you insert your finger there just to touch the top of the rice, it should be right at your first little indentation there. And that means you're good to go. So what I'm going to do is get my rice started, start chopping up all my veggies, and we should be ready to go by the time this rice is cooked. So I'll see you in a sec. First, I'm going to start by cutting up my carrots. So I've got about 3 medium, and we'll see how many of them I end up using, but I'm going to slice them thinly on the bias because we want to keep it pretty. And we don't want to go too thick because we are going to stir fry them, so we don't want it to take too long. And we also want to make sure that these are also the same size. Okay, that's one. I think we're going to stop at 2 carrots, because that looks like a lot. The key is to kind of keep all your veggies about the same ratio. So next up, I'm going to do some celery. I have 3 stalks, and I am fairly certain that I'm going to use all 3. So same thing, we're going to cut them on the bias. A little bit thicker than the carrots because they do contain a little bit more water, so they're going to cook a little bit faster. And since we are going to kind of throw everybody into the same pan when we're stir frying, we want everybody to come out with a little bit of bite to them. And the last one. Okay. And I'm just putting this all in the same bowl. I'm just separating the veggies. And then next, I'm going to take 2 bell peppers. Go ahead and pick any 2 colors that you like the best. And then we're going to dice these. Whoops, man overboard. Okay. We get these little seeds out. Okay, and these we're going to cut into about 1-inch pieces. That looks good. And then these are going to turn into cubes, thereabouts. Same thing with my yellow bell pepper. I'm going to slice these, again, about 1 inch thick. And then, let's see, next up, I've got some green onions. Now, these I'm going to add towards the end. This is 1 bunch of green onions, and I course, gave them a wash, and I trimmed both the top and the bottom. So these guys, I'm actually just going to cut straight across about 1-inch pieces. And we are actually going to put these in a separate bowl. Get these guys in there too. Okay. And then I've got 1 red onion. I'm going to give this a slice. I may or may not use the entire onion. We'll see how it goes. So we're going to peel off that outer layer because that's really tough. And the second layer looks pretty good. Actually, no, it doesn't. Take that back. Okay. So these we're going to slice also fairly thin. And also set them into a separate bowl. Oops. Some of these pieces I'm going to put in our little composting bowl to go in our bin for later. And last but not least, we've got a couple of cloves of garlic that I'm going to mince up. If you have a garlic press or a microplane, you can totally use those. If not, go ahead and chop this, give this a mince. Was because we want teeny tiny pieces, because we're actually going to put this in with the hot rice at the end versus cooking it along with the veggies. So you are going to get a stronger garlic flavor, but you don't want those giant pieces of garlic. It's looking good. Almost done. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna actually just set that on my knife and set that to the side. I'm gonna wash up and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've cleaned up, the last couple of ingredients that we're going to be using for our dish today is going to be 1 pint of grape tomatoes and 1 bunch of flat leaf parsley that I went ahead and washed, and I just picked the leaves. I'm actually just going to give these a good rough chop as soon as I remove the garlic from my knife. And the other thing that you're going to need is 1 package of sharp cheddar cheese that's grated, so that 2 cups. If you don't like sharp, you can use mild, but I would not recommend using any other cheese in this particular recipe. So I am going to remove my garlic into a little ramekin and then just give this a rough chop. And then we're going to start sauteing our veggies while our rice is cooking. Let's get started sauteing these veggies. So I've got my pan on medium-high heat. I'm going to add in some extra virgin olive oil. That is probably just a couple of teaspoons. I'm just going to roll this around the pan. And then I'm going to added my onions first, and we're going to saute those separately. And then we're going to set them off to the side. So essentially we're going to be cooking our veggies in small batches. These have been cooking for about 3 minutes, and these are looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and take them off the heat and put them in the bowl off to the or that I have off to the side. And then I'm going to continue on with the next batch of veggies. Okay, same thing. I'm going to add in a little bit more of my extra virgin olive oil. I'm actually going to turn down my heat just ever so slightly. And now I'm going to add in my carrots and celery and peppers. These are all going to go in. These are looking great, so I'm going to take them off heat, add them to my onions, and then we'll get our tomatoes and green onions in next. Last but not least, a little bit of oil. And in go our pint of tomatoes and our green onions. And these we just want to get a nice blister on the tomatoes and just kind of par cook our green onions a little bit. So in total, probably 1.5 minutes or so. These look good, so I'm going to take these off of the heat as well, add them to my veggies, and I will see you for assembly. We are ready to assemble everything. So I've got my full pot of brown rice that is just finished cooking, so I'm going to add all of that to a big bowl. Set that to the side. Now immediately I'm going to add in my minced garlic and mix this in with my rice. And I'm trying to be a little bit gentle with it because you don't want to mush up the grains. To this, I'm going to add all of our veggies. I'm going to add those directly to my rice. Get everybody in. I'm going to give this a good stir. And now I'm going to add in my flat leaf parsley. Give that a little stir. So you want to get everybody mixed in fairly equally before we add in our cheddar cheese. So we're going to use this entire package. So that is 2 cups. And then also to that, I'm going to add some black pepper. You can do it to your taste. This is about 3/4 of a teaspoon. And the key to this dish is we just want to get everybody incorporated evenly. And of course, we want that cheese to melt. Everybody is incorporated nice and evenly. And what I did was, once I gave it that first really good mix where everything was evenly distributed, I stopped and gave it a 2 to 3 minute rest just to give the cheese an opportunity to melt, because if we keep on zhuzhing it, it won't be able to collect that heat to melt up the cheese. So we let it rest. So at this point, I'm just going to give it a taste to see if I need to add any more salt or pepper. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of each. So in total, for this particular recipe, I'm using a teaspoon of black pepper and about in total a teaspoon and a half of salt. So that is including the one that I added when we were cooking up our celery and carrots and peppers. So I'm going to give this another zhuzh to make sure all the salt and pepper go everywhere, and then I'm ready to dish up. Better yet, I'm ready to eat. All right, so let's get some of this in my bowl. A little bit of everybody so you can eat your rainbow of veggies. All right, that looks like a good start. So here you have it, my vegetarian hula bowl. I hope you give this recipe a try because it is pretty quick and easy and delicious. So until we eat again, y'all, aloha.